43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33. 32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7.
6.
5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Good evening and welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on politics. I'm your host, John Schmitz. We got an action-packed show tonight. Tiffany just popped up backstage. As you probably know, we really do a lot of show prep before we come on the air. Most of the time, we don't even speak. I laugh because somebody wanted to see our talk sheet and our topics and all that. We got none of that most of the time. Although Brad has been giving us some talking points. But we have a good show. We have Greg Merriweather is going to sit in on the panel, and I'm waiting to see Micah Beckwith pop up in the backstage here because he's our guest tonight. We're going to be talking to him about a few things, and I think we have a common frenemy. Is that what you call frenemy? In Rob Kendall, we probably talk about that a little bit. And you know, it's just very, very interesting what's going on. So I was actually on a Zoom call with Micah. There's a new, believe it or not, another new conservative think tank group starting. That's a national group that's starting in Indiana. I talked to a lady from Arizona that feels the void here, and another group from Florida. So there's a lot of folks that think that we need something here. We need something. So this ought to be an interesting show tonight. We've been doing this show for a while, and we cover a lot of different things and what's going on. And I guess sometimes I think a lot of people feel frustrated. Their vote doesn't count. We can't do anything. We can't move in the needle. I think that there's getting ready to be a little bit of a renaissance. I think people are tired of the two-party establishment system. I think there's people that have tried the libertarian route. That I personally tried the independent route. And you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. So there's a lot of people that, you hear the term rhino passed around, Republican in name only. And, that that can go both ways. I would almost consider myself, I'm a Republican, but I sure don't believe in a lot of stuff that's going on these days. And I think that the people have a voice, and that's what our show's about, is to give everybody a voice. We will respect their opinion, even though we don't agree with it. I've had a lot of controversial people on our show. I've had a lot of good people on the show. I've even been accused of a lot of, different things, hanging out with this guy or that guy. But you know what? I'm not going to put people over politics. I'm not going to do it. So sometimes we lose track of what's important. So I'm going to bring it all back in here. How I got started into politics is me and my wife, Lisa, beautiful house in Speedway, living down there, living the dream right on 15th Street. Over 10 years ago, we bought a building here in Mars Hill. We wanted to make a difference in the community. We came in, we bought a building. We did not say what we wanted to do. We sort of came in the neighborhood. What do they need? And we came up with an art center, activity center. And then as we were working on that, fixing it up, I got so much slack from the city. I said, this is wrong. If somebody's going to come in and spend $200,000-$300,000 in an underserved neighborhood, the city should at least get out of the way, maybe even roll out a red carpet. But no, that's not what happened here. I was just hassled to no end, $15,000 extra in red tape, permitting, garbage. I only paid $30,000 for the building. So half of the cost of my building was going to this city over stupid regulation rules. They made me rezone it when I didn't have to. It just irritated me. So even though I'm a very good complainer, I'm not as good as Rob Kendall, but I'm a good complainer. I figured, well, complaining is one thing, but doing something another. So we came up with the slogan, do something indie. And while we were fixing this place up, people said, well, you need to go and live in the neighborhood where you live in. So it's almost been 7 years that we've lived in the neighborhood. And you know what? It's been a slow grind. It's been a slow grind, but our neighborhood is improved. It is improved. And it's not just because of us, but we have been a sort of a catalyst for others to get involved, to fix up their properties, to, get involved. 5 years ago, you wouldn't have seen kids out riding their bikes. Well, some of the crackheads would have their kids out riding their bikes because they didn't care about them. But now we have people walking dogs out, and their kids are out, they're riding their bikes, or it's just a totally different neighborhood. So I'm going to share a video here. I made a video this weekend. We have a little free library and a blessing box at the art center. And this Kara Koval has come over, and she has just, and Kara was, her family, they're not a rich family. They don't have oodles of extra stuff. But you know what? Kara always made sure we had books in that library. She always made sure we had blessings in the blessing box. Well, she passed away. So we thought, well, we want to dedicate this to her. So we made Kara's cone. And this is, Lisa does this. I build stuff. Lisa makes it happen. This is Lisa's 100%. But I got this little video here. And then on the other side, we're going to bring Mike on. But this is a video that I made on the TikTok because, hey, hey, I may be old, but I can TikTok with anybody. So, but here's a video I made that just sort of shows the family. And I'll tell you, it was very, very meaningful for these folks. I mean, it was very, very meaningful. There wasn't a lot. It was just them and us. There wasn't a lot of hoopla, no media, no anything. Just them and us. But here you go. Here's this video. And then I'm going to bring Mike on the other side.
These are my people. This is where I come from. We're giving this life everything we've got and then some. It ain't always pretty, but it's real. It's the way we were made, wouldn't have it any other way. These are my people.
All right. Hey, you got to like that, Micah.
Hey, that's great. I love it.
Hey, didn't I just see you on a Zoom call?
Just a couple minutes ago.
Man, we will not hold you long. I appreciate you taking the time, but it's been a minute since we spoke, and I think we have the same frenemy going on here with Rob Kendall. I got into it with him about the Gabe Whitley thing. He's got GDS, Gabe Derangement Syndrome. He can't get over it. So he's basically just, he's just throwing me under the bus on that. So I know you know what that's like. And I got your little interview pulled up here. We'll play a little bit of the explosion on that. But we got a lot to talk about. Across here. So we got a guest panelist, Greg Merriweather, on here tonight. And we're gonna ask questions. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna ask questions. I think a lot of people want to know what's going on. I gotta say, you've been a little quiet lately. I mean, either that or I've just not been paying attention. So I mean, I see you some, but you haven't really. Let's put it this way. I've heard Rob Kendall complaining an awful lot about you, and I have not heard you say anything. I think there's a proverb: "The fool scoffs on." Something like that. I don't know. So I just want to say I'm proud of you for not jumping in the fray with them on that, or I missed it. So maybe not. I have it. So it looks like you're out on the outside there in this nice 75 degree evening. Yeah. Well, great. 2 more days you'll be out there sweating, fighting mosquitoes. It's supposed to be 105 degrees. But anyway, thanks for coming on. Tell us what you're up to. I mean, it seems like you've been in the news. Like you got a lot of people that really just don't like you. I mean, I see those folks. Haters.
Well, just means I'm doing something right. I mean, you always have to. The Bible says, "Beware of those that all men speak well of." Right. So you always have to kind of keep it in perspective. So who are the people who don't like you, don't like what you're doing, and if those are the right people to not like you, then you're doing something right. So I just kind of take it as a badge of honor when they don't. When I get the arrows at me and I signed up for this job. I was sick and tired of seeing what I was seeing and I wanted to make sure that I was doing something about it. And so I kind of see it as a good litmus test and a good, breadcrumbs that I'm on the right track. If the Indy Star doesn't like you, if the media doesn't like you, then you're doing something right. So I just take that as a, hey, of course they're not going to like me. They're anti-American, socialist, communists. I mean, they hate everything that America stands for. So I want them to not like me, because that just means I'm the counter to what they believe, which is a good thing. So
it seems like we are taking a transition. I'm just going to use woke as just a big barrel to throw it all in, back to some more patriotism and more, in our community. I think people are sick and tired of it. I think that the COVID thing got a lot of people hunting and looking at things. I know you were on a library board that had some issues, and I'm sure your buddy Brad will have some good questions for you, because I know he was one of those. That's how I met him, when you were library board and out there being a civil person instead of some of these crazy people that were going. So I'm going to give the people in the back. I see a couple cameras off there. Lucy and Greg, get your cameras up, because you're getting ready to come on here. So I don't want to. And then I see Tiffany. Yep, there they go. There, good panel. So I'm going to get to it. Let's bring the panel on here. It's going to be like the Brady Bunch tonight. Let's go ahead and bring on Greg and Brad. Everybody, look at us go. It's Tiffany. What happened?
Hey, Micah.
I don't know what happened to her screen. So there she is.
There we go.
Yes.
A love boat promises something for everyone.
I'll start with our guest panelist, Greg. Greg, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm good, man. Good to be back. I'm glad to see the Lieutenant Governor on here. I've been trying to catch up with him.
Me too.
But I'm glad to see him on here, man. I look forward to the conversation, and I definitely would love for us to, get a chance to sit down with each other. I think we can, shoot some ideas. So I look forward to it.
Yeah. Maybe
I would love that.
Maybe Micah and Braun can sit down with you and see. We've been trying to get a meeting with them. I can't get past Josh Kelly, so I'm working on it. Hey, Brad, here's your biggest fan, Micah. Brad, he is Brad. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I still have the picture. Micah signed a picture for me and told me he loved me. That's we have nothing but good spirits towards one another.
Yeah, that's right. It's the innocent love boat. It's speaking of
again,
love boat.
Mike, you don't think that everybody that disagrees with you is a communist or a socialist or a? I've been called all those things, and I'm 90% sure I'm not.
Because you are.
No, not everybody, but I think there's some. I think there's some people in the media. No, I think there's some people in the media that are, and those are some of the people that really don't like me. But no, I mean, not everybody disagrees with me as an anti-American communist, but just tends to.
Yeah, man, I'm all about Hulk Hogan and saying my prayers and eating my vitamins and just getting my vegetables
and pass the ammunition. Well, speaking of the love boat, we got Captain Tim.
I love it.
So what? Where maybe Lucy could be Gopher. I don't know. So how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We were at the Fisher's concert. It was the Naughty Yachties tonight with Josh Kaufman, who won The Voice. So we were there, and we left early so that I would be on time for the show.
Wow, you are a trooper. We're going to double your pay for tonight. Make it triple. Lucy, how you doing? You holding the fort down in Salem, Indiana?
Yes, I'm still causing much trouble for the local politicians. Still a thorn in their side. And Micah, there's actually some things that maybe tonight is not the time to talk about it. But some really bad land use things that I'm seeing coming down in other states that I would hate to have come down in Indiana. Maybe we should talk about it tonight. I'll leave that up to you whether you want to open up that can of worms. But specifically in Kansas, there's currently a federal law that's being floated. I don't think that it's passed, that would take away vast, over 33 counties worth of land in Kansas that have an immense amount of water rights. And they would hand those water rights over to the federal government. And we know famously that the CEO of Nestle said about 2 decades ago that water is not a human right. It's simply a commodity. And we've already seen how Nestle has gone into Michigan and literally drilled down. Yeah. So, we need to protect Indiana's natural resources from Meta and Neuralink and all those people that are coming in with data centers. They're so water intense. And I would definitely expect the current federal administration, the Mango Mussolini, to want to make a deal, with the water rights. So,
Well, hey,
and
they
some
got all the
Chinese,
oil. I mean, they got all
well,
the
yeah,
oil.
some Chinese guy just bought a whole bunch of water rights in New Hampshire. So we really need to keep an eye on this because water is life.
Yeah.
So anyway, welcome to the call.
Yeah. Well, hey, Lucy, that was supposed to be your
I agree.
introduction, and you just went into the question. So we'll just go with that. Micah, what do you think? I mean,
Yeah, no, I
heard
think
about blighted land. Blighted land was with something I heard.
Well, that's if you're going to put solar panels on.
Okay.
I don't want to take up prime farmland for technology that's going to be outdated in 5 years, and it's being subsidized by the federal government. So, to me, it's just if you want to make the argument for solar, we'll put it on land that's not being used. Put it on blighted land. Put it on tops of rooftops of buildings that aren't doing much, and use it that way. It's just a lot harder for developers to do because they've got to go into each individual plot of land and reconfigure everything. So they don't like doing that. But I agree with Lucy. Lucy, I think that's I think you're spot on. We have to watch that. I would absolutely push back against the federal government trying to take our water rights. I mean, that's got to be a sovereign state issue. We need to make sure that the federal government, I don't care if it's a Republican or Democrat administration pushing it. If we lose that, then we become slaves to whoever has the water, because to your point, water is life. So yeah, I think what Kansas is doing, what New Hampshire's doing, let's not do that here.
Let's not be that.
Lucy, how much water do data centers need? Because they've got signs up in Greenfield that say no data centers here.
Yes,
and
unbelievable.
It's about the SMRs,
unbelievable
though,
amounts
right?
of data.
And the thing with Indianapolis is, the project that's over in Lebanon, that Lilly project that they're supposed to be taking the water from the Wabash. They're working on that, but we don't need data centers on the east side, the northeast side. We don't need them near Fishers. We've got, you can't be one of the best places to live if you don't have enough water. We don't need that.
Google just bought a whole bunch of Franklin Township.
Are
you aware of that down in Marion County?
Nobody really knows who that is. I actually know a guy that works on the acquisition side of that, and they don't let you know who it is. They contacted me. It's a UK company that was looking for somebody to do the GC work for one in Fort Wayne, and they're a pretty big outfit. And this is the same guy. He lives out in Phoenix. He was just here this weekend. He was telling me about that thing. He says, well, nobody really knows who it is. But Lucy, I think you're like, yeah, I think that's, but you don't know. They try to get out. But they do have, well, they do have air cooled. They have these that are air cooled, but they're so much smaller. The water cooling allows them to build the more condensed big data centers. But I'd say, hey, why don't we build them on the moon? It's really cool up there. I heard you can it's below zero. But anyway,
Don, you know what? They could use the same live telephone system that they used for the moon landing.
Oh, here we go. Conspiracy theories.
Not yet. Wi-Fi has been.
Not yet.
Can we switch to how Indy was this weekend?
How was Indy this weekend?
Heard.
Oh, Indy? I don't know if Micah really had much to do with the Indy thing.
No, but Micah.
Talking about shootings and death?
Yeah, was it as bad as?
No,
didn't Governor Braun though come out and say, because it wasn't there the NBA or the WNBA All-Star game and the Indy Black Expo going on?
Correct. Both were here.
Yeah, I think Greg could tell us a little bit more about that, because Greg used to be really involved with the Indy Black Expo, and he knows a lot about the police, and that's why we have him on tonight. He's going to talk about that. So, hey, Greg, why did we not? Sorry, Micah. Greg's going to get the spotlight here for a second. What happened this weekend? We didn't have any violence. Was it because there was 10 to 1 cop per person?
Yeah, I think that, it was stated that resources were coming to Indianapolis via, state level, but that was going to happen anyway because we had national spotlight on the city. But again, that was a good thing. Also, with the help of community organizations, IMPD, it went off without a hitch. I mean, you didn't have anything going on downtown. I would say, other than that, you have 4 incidents that were not downtown in Indianapolis. So I would say kudos to those who showed up. And for anything that was offered downtown, it went off without a hitch, without any problems at all. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, one of the things I thought was everybody was singing, "Oh, Black Expo, it's going to be," they just, they were sort of already prejudging all that stuff. And I didn't think that was fair. I think with about half that, we'd have been good.
I think that when it's all said and done, we have to realize that we had in all these years, you've had that one big incident, and it just caused this stir forever. You've never had one incident at the free concert, not one. Yeah. And I think that we have to recognize those things and kind of, push back on the stigma. I think that there's violence in the city, but typically it has not come by way of Black Expo.
No, that's just, you're right, exactly right on that. Now I want to get to one of our audience questions because I think this one's a little bit controversial, and this is definitely for Micah. How about the
one above it?
The 3. Well, that was long. That's long. What is that one?
Yeah, but this isn't.
Oh, that's the same thing. So. Statement about, I would like to hear
clarity from Micah about his statement. I would like to share with you the 3/5 compromise is not a pro-discrimination compromise. It was not a pro-discrimination or a pro-slave driving compromise that the founders made. It was actually just the opposite.
So yeah, we're going to get you in trouble tonight, Micah, or out of trouble, or into trouble and out of trouble. I don't know. So yeah, explain some of that.
Yeah, so Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 is the 3/5 compromise section. And if you read it, the founders were not saying that it's 3/5 of a person, it's 3/5 of all persons. So all other persons is what the Constitution says, and that has to deal with the slaves. But you have to recognize, if you actually study what was going on, the South was trying to count all their slaves as one whole person. Okay, so keep in mind, so this is the pro-slave South. They wanted to count all their slaves as one whole person. So people who are disagreeing with me on this are siding with the pro-slave South. Now, why would the pro-slave South want to count their slaves as one whole person? Not because they wanted to. That's right. They didn't want personhood for the slaves. That had nothing to do with it. They wanted representation in Congress so they could codify slavery in the North. So with a lot of wisdom, they said, no, we see what you're doing here. We're not going to let you do that. So they said, if you get to count your property, and the North knew they weren't property. They knew they were humans, but we just have lived in the societies for thousands of years up to that point had been using slaves, right? Every nation was built on the backs of slaves. But our founders knew, like, that's not what God said should happen. That's not how God's ordained way is. And so they knew we were going to have to get rid of it. And so the North said, okay, fine. If you get to count your property, then we're going to count our property too. We're going to count our wagons and our houses and our windows and our chairs. And the South said, no, you can't do that. And so they said, okay, fine, we'll make this 3/5 compromise with you where you count the entire population of slaves. It wasn't one, the person was not worth 3/5 in the eyes of the North. It was saying the whole population will get 3/5. And that was a way that they held the Union together, because the South wouldn't have ratified the Constitution had it not been for that. We would have had 13 different independent nations at that point. And so it was an amazing strategy. It was a great thing. It laid the foundation for where we are today, which then led to the Emancipation Proclamation, down the road with Abraham Lincoln, and then the Civil Rights Movement with Martin Luther King Jr. and where we are today. So the 3/5 compromise was wonderful. And because that's not my words. That's Frederick Douglass, one of the greatest abolitionists of all times. Mm-hmm. Frederick Douglass said it. He said the Constitution with the 3/5 compromise in it, he said, is a glorious liberty document. Here's a black freed slave saying this about the Constitution. So he even saw the beauty of what was happening in that moment. So unfortunately, we don't teach history in America today. And people who don't know history are like, oh my gosh, it's 3/5 of a person. That's not what it was. And so That's so I stand by what I'm right in what I said.
Yeah,
I mean, all you got to do is,
anything that make you hurt. Now, there is a famous quote that Abraham Lincoln said that basically started the Civil War. It said, "Cash me outside." That's, I know a lot of people don't know that.
Lincoln did say that.
That's what he said it, and they just didn't want to put it in there.
So
that's etched on the walls of the Lincoln Memorial, I think, in Washington. I think I saw that.
I saw it.
Yeah.
So, Greg, what were you had a thought?
So when we look at this, I mean, I get the 3/5. I'm not sure if it was a move in a positive direction, because when we realized you went from slavery to sharecropping to Jim Crow, from Jim Crow to anything after that, from after that to mass incarceration, and all this redlining, all these types of things that's and you look at especially, I always talk about the Savvy report on racial equity in Indianapolis, but really in Indiana. And you realize that Black people are last in everything good and first in everything bad, from housing to employment, unemployment, jail, food deserts, poor air and water quality in the community, so on and so forth. So when we look at these, what does this administration, I see a lot of things going on, but what does this administration plan to do to bring some equity? I know I see the MEI, but at this point, I'm like, I don't care anything about the acronyms. I would rather have action than acronyms. So what are we going to do to bring something to the table to say, let's bring some racial, social, economic equity to Indiana?
Yeah, great question. We're going to stop incentivizing the destruction of the nuclear family within inner city Black culture. That's the first thing, because it hinges on everything. When you incentivize Black women to have children outside of wedlock, where they get more money every time they have a child, that they're not married, they don't have a father figure at home, that destroys the Black culture. That has been the absolute linchpin on the destruction. Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, she knew this. She wanted to destroy the Black community. That's why they put Planned Parenthoods in inner city Black culture to eradicate Blacks from the face of the earth. That was her. I mean, Charles Darwin. That's what the origins of species was and the preservation of the favored races is what the title of his whole work is, and it's all about getting rid of Blacks, and that's not a good thing. It's not a godly thing. It's a terrible thing. And so what we got to do is we got to stop incentivizing these programs or having these programs that incentivize this destructive behavior. So the Brown administration, myself, our legislature, we're looking at that and we're saying, okay, we're not going to fund bad behavior. And when and again, take obesity, like with SNAP program, giving kids junk food with SNAP benefits. That's terrible. That's awful. We shouldn't be doing that. That happens primarily in many inner cities. So let's help them. Let's feed them. Let's feed them healthy food. Like that way they don't spiral out of control with an obesity. Yeah.
Mr. Lieutenant Governor. So I'm with you about healthy diets and everything. Do you know how expensive fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy food are? I mean, there's going to have to be a little bit of a multiplier on those benefits. Because I mean, and then in a lot of those grocery stores, a lot of those kids, they'll use those benefits at like Dollar Store and Dollar General. And it's hard to really make that money go far. It's like when you go to a restaurant or a cafeteria and it's a salad's like $15. I mean, fresh fruits and vegetables in places that are traditionally food deserts are very, very expensive. I just wanted to share that. That's the other side of it. I think it would be a great field trip. You know what we should do, Micah? We should get some benefits and we should go grocery shopping and we should see what we can really buy with somebody's, I don't know, monthly or whatever they get every
SNAP.
Well, if they're in a food desert, it doesn't matter. I mean, you got to.
Exactly.
It's very tough. Very
even
tough.
If there is a public transportation like near there, that is another cost that does factor in. But yeah,
let's do a day in the life. Let's use public transportation. Let's stay in some Section 8 housing and let's go and use some of these benefits just to see and understand. I saw a TikTok earlier and it was a man and a woman running a race. And then it said, until they, run your race, they'll never know. And the man's holding like 2 kids and the woman's just like chilling and she's just running. And this man's trying to run with 2 kids. I think it's really easy to point
Men
fingers
have it
at
so tough
and tell them how they're living. But once you live just a little bit of time, walk in their shoes, it's a little bit different. Off my soapbox.
Oh, without a doubt. I don't disagree with that, Tiffany. Absolutely. I mean, and you're right. It is more expensive, but also too, I mean, we haven't even tried. I mean, we just throw money and just say the cheapest, bag of Doritos and soda that we can get, and we just get into their hands to pacify them. And so I think one of the things we're going to look at, I think what RFK Jr. is doing, President Trump, I know Governor Braun and myself, we're looking at this and saying, okay, let's make sure we do the very best we can to get the most healthy option. That may not be the greatest healthy option, but we can do better. I can tell you that much right now. Like we can definitely do better. And that's I think that's where we got to start.
So Lieutenant Governor, here's another thing. With the I think it's about $670 million that Planned Parenthood gets from the government. Is it possible that whatever the portion is that goes to Planned Parenthood, if we're really trying to eliminate this thing, is there some portion of that we could utilize to go to filter back into said communities who are in blight, to basically, bring some life and bring some industry, bring some grocery stores, bring something into those communities that can allow them to start thriving on an equal playing ground? I would think that would be great. Since we want to get rid of one thing, let's utilize the funds that we give to those things that we say are not good to us and funnel them back into the system so that we can do something with them.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, Greg. That's a federal. I mean, that would be a federal thing from the start. But
Sure.
But we can look at that from a state perspective too. And I think stop incentivizing babies out of wedlock. I mean, I think you're 4 times more likely to live in poverty if you have a child outside of wedlock. Every statistic for the last 5 decades has shown us that. And so I think that's also something where it's like, stop.
But what if you hate the person?
I have a good friend who was.
What was that, Brad? Go ahead.
Like, what if you
say it again. You were breaking up.
Well, what if you don't fall in love with that person and you do not want to marry them?
Why were you fornicating with them?
Yeah, come on, Brad. This isn't a Fish concert.
No. But I feel like these like moral rules though play into.
Okay,
what you're saying, Brad, is we need to bring class and morality into the equation, and that we should teach young women that their bodies are sacred and that they should avoid having sex with anybody that they're not willing to have a child with. I mean, this is what I teach my kids. Like, if you have sex with somebody, I am proof positive that our family line is fertile, and you are likely to get pregnant if you have sex. So if you do, just know that if you're having sex, you're going to get likely to get pregnant. Don't do that with somebody that you don't want to look at every morning for the rest of your life.
Speaking about pregnancy, Brad, and another question for you, Lieutenant Governor. So I was chatting with a friend yesterday, and she had gone down to Castleton Mall, and she went to the 2 stores that one usually goes to, Von Maur and Macy's. And so, but she had to walk through the mall to get from Von Maur to Macy's, and she saw a lot going on. And she noticed that she'd seen quite a few pregnant teenagers. And I was just wondering if we're capturing any statistics on that now that Roe v. Wade's been overturned. I feel like some older women kind of have an idea of how to avoid pregnancy and have an adult life. But sometimes that message may not be getting to our youngest and most vulnerable women, or young girls, actually. And I was just wondering, are you guys seeing any uptick in teenage pregnancies, and what's the plan there?
That's a great question, Tiffany. I have not looked into the teenage pregnancy aspect of it yet. I can certainly have our research team get on it, and that would be very helpful to know. But I will say this, one of the things we are pushing is better abstinence teaching in schools. I mean, just to Lucy's point, to make sure the kids know when teenagers have sex, and if it's consensual and they want to do that, well, then let them know the consequences. Let them know the ramifications, not just for them and for their child, but for their futures. And it's for some reason, it's just the left does not want any type of abstinence teaching in schools. They're always like, nope, has to be all about, just live and let live. And then just tell people how to.
What type of consequences are we talking about, though? Like,
well, I think having a child outside of wedlock is a consequence. I mean, you can argue it's a good, bad. Yeah, that's a huge consequence financially.
No, but then like, I guess how do you show that in real enough terms that kids will understand, or like teens will understand? I guess.
Dude, some movies. I mean, like, have you, dude? The music video, she worked hard for the money. Oh my gosh. This lady's like a wait. People are getting on her nerves, and all she wants to do is go in the street and dance. I mean, there are a million sorry.
Okay, I'm going to do a pattern interrupt here on everybody. Pattern interrupt, because one thing that I know about my friend Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith is that he wants to protect Hoosiers. Not just from the things we've talked about, but also from the federal government. And I know that God has put you in this position so that you can stand up and protect Indiana and to protect all of us. So I'm curious, Micah, have you been following two things, the Genius Act and the Big Beautiful Bill? And I'd like to remind people that lowercase b is 666. So whether it's Build Back Better or the Big Beautiful Bill, I mean, we're right in Satan's grasp. And with the Big Beautiful Bill, talking about the environment, you know that there was a 10-year moratorium put on the states being able to fight back against anything with AI. So when we are faced with the Terminator, the total destruction of our society by AI, and the federal government comes in and the Mango Mussolini says, for 10 years, you can't fight us. We got a 10-year head start.
Yeah. Wait, that didn't get in though, right?
Yeah.
That got removed. Right.
Did that get removed? I didn't think that got removed.
I hope so,
it
because
got removed when it went from the House to the Senate, because that was
I hope so.
Taylor Greene.
Okay. I hope
admitted
so.
that she didn't read it, and I'm like,
that was egregious. And then the Genius Act lays the foundation for CBDCs. So while everybody's talking about the Epstein list, they passed the Genius Act, and that laid the foundation for CBDCs and literally the idea of programmable money. So they would literally be able to program, how much protein you're able to get, whether or not you're able to get Doritos, versus fresh produce, whether you're allowed to buy food at all, or to put gas in your car.
That's why Bitcoin jumped up to 120.
It did.
It was,
and of course, I still don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, I don't have a bit of the bit, but having that IA thing in place would be good, because they could do you could do, if you watch Hammer and Nigel, they do all the people that are kissing that shouldn't, like Trump and Nancy Pelosi making out and stuff. I mean, you almost can't. I mean, really, you can't believe what you see. It used to be believe half of what you hear, or none of what you hear.
You can tell though, John. Like, it's still shiny. It's got this weird.
Yeah,
does that too, and he does it with people who like exist.
Well, and they say
that can get pictures. Like he did one of Governor Braun, and I'm like, just use like a stock photo, and make a new background. My God, like, we're using AI for like the dumbest shit.
Well, and the other thing is, like, what really gets me is we got Chat GTP. You got that chat, or no, that's Grok, Grok. And I see a lot of these people that are like, oh, Elon Musk, he's no good. Let's burn down his Tesla thing. And those are the same people I see using Grok. And you know who's in charge of Grok? Elon Musk. So,
Yeah, but now he's changing it because it keeps, like, he doesn't want the answers that it's being given. But it's like, it's insane.
Well, and Lucy mentioned Terminator.
ChatGPT is left leaning. So
yeah. So let's ask. I'm going to ask Micah one more, because he's had a long day. I know he's been.
You'll understand them.
One more. What?
Micah, it's dark there. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
like,
there we go.
Yeah, his internet's leaking out there.
Mike is on that Indiana curfew.
Yeah, you better get in. Roll up the conference. So we speak about IA. What
AI.
I had to think. Like, it took me a second.
I do that. I got a mild case of dyslexia. Thanks for making fun of me, but that's okay. So what is the state going to do? We talk about the federal trying to do something. Is there anything that the state's trying to do for this let's see, AI. Yeah, not IA. AI.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're certainly in conversations right now. I think, unfortunately, the state of Indiana tends to be a little behind the eight ball on things like this, and a little more retroactive than proactive. Usually, what I've found, and I think you guys probably see this in government, is typically what happens in whether it's local or state government, it's the problem has to happen first before anything is addressed. And so what I'm trying to do is get legislators, and I've talked with a few, to say, hey, what is our plan? What are we going to do? Because we don't have the luxury of being retroactive on something as powerful as this. I can't say that there's any great solutions that have come out, but I do think the federal government needs to take the lead. Indiana needs to be right there, thinking it proactively as well. And I mean, again, I think, do I think it's going to be Terminator? No, not necessarily. But I also think, to your point earlier, I mean, there's going to be a lot of deception that can happen with AI, and I think there needs to be some really strict boundaries that Indiana legislature puts in place for people who abuse that. And I go back to, the government's job is to, strike fear into the heart of evildoers, those who would want to use things like AI to abuse it and to steal and to hurt and to destroy other people, our who's your friends and neighbors. And that I think we just have to have some really severe consequences for people who do try to run off the rails. 'Cause I don't even know if we know how they're going to run off the rails with it yet. That's the scary thing.
Yeah, that's the scary thing.
But that's why we shouldn't give away any kind of, any of the rights, though, to the federal government. Like, us not being able to intervene for 10 years was ridiculous. And unless it was caught by somebody, it was just going to go through. So that was the original plan, right?
And what I say to something like that, okay, federal government, tell us we can't interfere for 10 years. Come and stop us, right? Like, you just need
on the phone.
You need good state leaders to say, we don't care if the federal government tells us to stay out of it. Like, the right thing for Hoosiers is to get involved, and we're going to do that. There's a time and a place to tell the federal government to go pound sand, and it's like, you don't have
jobs. Imagine the amount of jobs that, that's how they would sell it. I'm just saying.
Sure, I get it. Yeah, they're going to say, hey, I mean, there's always a big giant, counterfeit carrot that they're going to hold out there for us, and we just have to be
a big carrot.
A big carrot, right? And I think we have to. This is on us too. I mean, boy, I tell you what, we took the money hook, line, and sinker during COVID, and boy, I tell you what, people with great conservative bona fides were totally just bending over backwards to get that money, and they sold their soul for those COVID dollars. And I said, this is going to come back to bite us. It's going to bump up our debt to the point where we won't be able to get it under control. It's going to increase our dependency on the federal government, and it sure has. And now we're trying to roll it back, and look how hard that is.
Really quickly.
Yeah,
really
Greg, you'll have the last question, and Micah will let you go hug your wife, your kids, all that.
Cool.
I appreciate you staying on this.
So Micah, so we had State Rep Jim Lucas proposing the state consider using firing squads and hangings as methods for carrying out state executions. What's the thought?
Good. I think that's good. I think that saves us a heck of a lot of money, and it's how we did.
I'll let you finish, Mike, and then I'll come in with the libertarian viewpoint on capital punishment.
Yeah. So I believe capital punishment is a good thing. I think it's a pro-life thing because it actually protects innocent life. And, the first Noahide law after the flood that God gave Noah was, if you shed man's innocent blood, by man's hand will your blood also be shed. And it was God's standard to say, I'm going to protect innocent life by striking fear into the heart of those who do evil. And we have to get back to being a state where go through the process. I think the worst thing that could happen is to, if someone is unjustly charged and executed. You don't want that. And Ben Franklin said, I'd rather 100 guilty go free than one innocent be condemned. I'm right there with Ben Franklin on that. But when we go through the process and we know without a shadow of a doubt that somebody has done these heinous acts, they need to pay the price. Now here's the deal. As a pastor, I would, just like the thief on the right, there's still hope for the people on death row. Like, they can still know Christ. They can still come to know the Lord, and they can walk into the next life of eternity, into paradise. And so I would say, hey, we can carry out justice in this life and have mercy on the person that's going to be executed by saying, hey, but Jesus still has a way for you. You still have hope. And if you accept Christ, you're going to walk into eternity in a totally different different way than you would otherwise. And so I think you can carry out the death penalty in a loving way, and then it serves justice, because government's job first and foremost is to carry out justice, and second of all, it's to protect the innocent. And so I think what's the problem is, what I saw with these last two executions is it's $1 million to get this death serum. That's ridiculous. That's insane. And
plus it's the 17
I guess
years.
my concern is the
method.
My concern is who it will impact when we already look at our justice system and where it has failed in certain aspects to race. I'm concerned from that perspective. And I don't want us to, we already don't have an anti-lynching law, but I don't want us to get to a place where we basically reverse anything that has already transpired and get back to a certain way, because I don't think that does anybody any justice by carrying out things that way.
Yeah, and I think Fatima makes a good point here. She just sums it up in 3/5 and hanging. I think that if we need to take that out of the conversation totally, because it brings back the wrong message for people. I mean, I just think that's definitely an issue. But
Libertarians
ahead,
are against. Yeah, we are against capital punishment because we know that government lies, and even worse than that, I think you need to think about who do you want to give the power of life over death? Who is worthy enough to handle that responsibility? And I would say that in a situation where I have a gun and somebody's trying to hurt my child or somebody else, I'm being right then. If I have the ability, I'm given the power of death over life, and that I can protect whoever needs to be protected. There is justice in that moment. But if you come back later and you have politicians who lie, we know that prosecutors and police lie and they plant evidence. There's an entire innocence project that has exonerated so many people. It's just too big of a risk. As much as I would, buy the wood chipper and chuck in a pedophile myself, there is an issue here, which is we simply cannot trust government to be the arbiter of life over death.
Yeah, well, and I think the other side of that is
that's what we do all the time.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to do it. I mean, that's part of the job. But you look at the other side of that. Do we put somebody in a cage for the rest of their miserable life? To me, it's.
But that's the cheaper of the two options too, right?
I think that they should.
But is it only because
some type of
medicine all costs like $1 million?
Activity to pay for their incarceration? Because I firmly believe nobody should live for free. So they should be contributing in some way.
We could get them to
economy and do at least cover.
Sorry, you guys there?
I have great news for you. Kamala Harris is willing to keep Black men imprisoned over weed judgments, over weed convictions. Even after weed was made legal in California, she kept them incarcerated so that they could pay their debt to society and she could make the bag.
Yeah.
How did Indiana not like
it?
I'm
going to shut it down. We got to be mindful of Micah's.
Oh, yes.
Hey, Greg, thanks for putting that question out there at the end when I'm trying to wind it up here. You're really testing. Let's see if I ask you to come back and be a guest on the panel, because that's
so, Micah, do you have any controversies that you're stirring up? Anything that we should be looking for?
He looks
frozen.
Is
Micah frozen?
He looks frozen.
He's frozen.
He's frozen. I think his detractors got to it
right now.
He's got that serious look, like, man, Governor Braun, you better listen to me. If you don't, let me talk for. That's a good. He did a Brad, folks. That's how Brad leaves us usually. If we have our after the show thing, and Brad will just Irish goodbye. It's sort of a joke. But there's one thing that that I have to retaliate against Brad, and this is it.
Going on a picnic. Whoa.
That'll be stuck in your brain for the rest of the week.
Like, I started yelling because I knew what was coming.
Yeah, you did. You went like that. So wait, Mike is back. There he is.
Sorry. I didn't hear hardly anything Lucy said. I'm sorry.
She said libertarians are great and you should switch to their party. But anyway.
We got Jerry Lopez in the chat.
Hey, I think I caught a little bit of what Lucy said. If I can, sorry if you for kind of losing connection there. But Lucy, I think what I was saying earlier, I heard you're like, you can't trust government to be the arbiter of life and death, and I think that's exactly the role of government in a lot of ways. Now, I agree. Like when you have corrupt, evil people in government, yeah, don't trust the people. But I think we have to do a better job of making sure that we elect prosecutors, we elect elected officials that will steward justice appropriately, and that's why it's so important what we do at the ballot box. And then the other thing too is we can put in good mechanisms and boundaries to make it incredibly difficult for unjust verdicts to be handed down. And I think we do. I mean, gosh, we've only had 3 executions in the last 15 years, 20 years or something like that. So
we got Timothy McVeigh. We had to pay for it, and he did his damage in Oklahoma. So, I
think we have to get. I think we also have to take the approach. We can't Old Testament everything and forget he who is without sin cast the first stone. And at some point, we have to look. We have to look at the compassion of Christ at some point and realize that, you know what, we shouldn't have the power of death in our hands. One death, somebody killing somebody else because someone killed someone makes absolutely no sense. It's like blood is blood and death is death. Period.
That's incredibly unloving, because what you do is you let the wolves continue to roam the shepherd's pasture, and good shepherds go after and kill the wolf. They don't continue to let the wolves just like ravage the sheep. You'd be a terrible shepherd.
But that's why you never compare. This goes back to three fifths. That's why you never call people animals.
You do. And there's a time and a place to say these are wicked, evil people. And there's, God does it all the time. God hates with a holy hatred. He hates what is evil. He loves what is good. This is what Scripture said. There's absolutely a time to say people are wicked and evil and they need to be addressed, and good people stand up to that. And so what happens is you have this virtuous, like this you're becoming more merciful and virtuous than God when you say something like that. You're saying, well, let's not put that standard in place because it's just not loving. God made the wolf, and the wolf should be allowed to just roam free in the pasture. And then you look around and you say, well, why are all the sheep gone? Why'd they all die? Well, because you didn't do your job protecting the innocent and the vulnerable. And so it's absolutely a loving thing to say, no, this is an evil person and they need to be dealt with. And we do this all the time throughout government. When a police officer shoots somebody, they're making a judgment call. That's an evil person, right? And sometimes they get it wrong. Most of the time they don't, but sometimes they do. Hey, listen,
we sound like the Romans.
Hey, listen.
Honestly, I think that's part of the issue here. It's like, and what Lucy was saying, who's the judge that does this stuff? And I see the point Mike is making with, somebody has to do that, and the government is supposed to be our public safety, but yet again, we have to protect the innocent. And I just think we're doing an awful job all the way across the board. And I
want to add one last thing.
Yeah,
the
go
murder.
ahead.
When you are the person, let's say that you're the person who's willing to, pull the plug, inject it, whatever. How do you know that you are not encouraging, mandating, forcing, enticing, whatever word that you want to use, that person to kill another human being at the request of a human, and you are now condemning that person to hell? Like literally, let's say that I'm willing, yeah, I'll do it. He deserves to die. He deserves to die. Bam, electric chair, he's dead. And then the Innocent Project exonerates him. Am I not a murderer?
He's still dead. Well, is it under
I don't think those cases are
Caesar? Is basically the government is
that
person?
So yeah, who killed John the Baptist? Was it the man that actually cut his head off, or was it Herod?
That was Herod's wife.
That's right. Ultimately, the authority rested with Herod. I don't believe the man who cut John the Baptist's head off is going to be held guilty for cutting John the Baptist's head off.
Oh, that is crazy. Micah.
Are you serious? Are you serious right now?
No, listen to me.
Here we go. Hey, Micah, I gave you a chance to get off. Now, here we go.
Who had the authority? Who had the authority? Who had the authority?
The person who wielded the weapon in their hands had the ability to say, no, I'm not going to do it. When
Sure.
people refuse to follow illegal, unlawful orders, then we can have a restoration of justice in the world. You can't go around saying, and by the way, this is exactly what I was taught when I was a Mormon child. I was taught as a Mormon child that if I were commanded by the elders of the church, which is basically any man in the church, that if I were even to commit murder, as long as I followed the brethren, my sin would be covered, that it would not be a sin because the authority told me to do it. Now, as long as you've got people going around believing that authority can tell them to go kill people, you'll continue to have millions and millions of brown children bombed and people on
You're
drones
assuming
wholesale killing people.
You're assuming that the person who's pulling the trigger has all of that knowledge, right? I don't believe God's going to hold somebody.
They certainly should
I don't
not
believe.
be pulling a trigger when they don't have the knowledge.
So what's the other option, Lucy?
May have been lied. Well,
so what's the other option?
Well, I'll tell you what. You don't kill people. That's the other option.
Okay.
You don't.
Okay.
You don't. You know.
I will go along with that. I will go along with that when people stop murdering people. Because if we don't kill anybody as the government, then I want that same respect shown to us by criminals. Is that cool?
Well, that's great.
Can we agree?
No. We don't.
Oh,
Because
so we just shut up and take it. So we just shut up. We just shut up. We just shut up and take it. That's what we do. That's essentially
so
what we
if
said.
that's the
You
case,
don't have the moral authority to kill anybody.
so Micah, if that's the case, then black people should go on a murdering spree because you've been killing us for hundreds of years.
Crap.
With no
Oh my God.
with no consequence.
That is the stupid. You know how many white people died in the Civil War, Greg?
Stop.
How many?
Black people fought in the war and got no benefit from it. Let's keep it above.
How many white people died in the Civil War?
My ancestor was in the Union Army, and he got a pension. Was
it more white people who died in the Civil War, or more black people who died in the Civil War fighting for the freedom?
How many?
Yeah, we died on the boats and afterwards. Let's keep it real.
Hey, I'm just telling you, there's been a lot of white people that have died for your freedom too. So just keep it in perspective.
I can't wait to feel it.
Yeah. Oh, you can't wait. You can't wait to feel. Hold on a second. Are you not free right now, Greg?
That would be a no.
Oh my goodness! What can't you do? What can't you do?
I can't go and earn $10 and keep it all because you and other members of the government have got your freaking hands out. And that's
how about are you what town are you in, Micah? What town are you in? Maybe I'll take a drive-through with my plate that says Black King and see if I'll get pulled over.
Oh man!
Let me go with you.
Holy smokes! So wait, so you get pulled over, and that is like you're oppressed. I've gotten pulled over before, and I didn't think I did anything wrong. Does that mean I'm oppressed too?
You're old enough to remember, Micah, when that black state trooper got pulled over in Carmel. He was just trying to go home, and he got pulled over, and what a big deal that became. You cannot.
What happened?
Driving while black is a thing.
What happened to the black trooper? What happened? I don't know this. Did he go to jail?
They actually tried to arrest him on the scene. The
Did he go to
police officer, and they had to call. They had.
Did he go?
He did not pass go.
Yeah.
Wait. But did he go to jail? Like, is he in jail?
Well, he's not in jail now. This is almost 20 years ago.
Wait. But did he go to jail? Did he go to jail?
I don't know, but it doesn't matter.
You're telling me he got pulled over? Oh my gosh, that is the. Oh man. Okay, we throw the Constitution out. Oh man.
We talk about
with the guy who shot Noah
and road.
He got pulled over.
Pulled over because my wheels went
faster
than the number on the sign. And somehow that gives you the right to take $150 out of my pocket when I harmed no one.
Did he get a ticket?
Crimes.
Did he get a ticket?
Micah, should anybody get tickets if they harmed no one?
Yeah, I think sometimes somebody should get a ticket.
People get tickets when they harm no one. No, this is like stop. Tiffany, stop.
Micah,
this is a serious question. This is a serious question.
So should anybody get tickets?
Micah, do you believe that a policeman should be able to pull over somebody who's done nothing wrong, who's hurt no one, issue them a ticket, and take money out of their pocket?
No.
Then why not stop it? You're the lieutenant governor.
Wait. So where is this happening?
All over.
Okay, give me an example.
So let me give you an example. And we're gonna use you as the proxy for the king because you're the politician in charge on this call. So you are the
Okay.
highest ranking politician on this call. So you, through Indiana law, specifically,
Tiffany
Statute
has an admiral
9,
hat on right now, so that's
And she's
it
a
pretty high.
actually
district
says
council.
captain. It actually says
Yeah.
captain.
Oh, does
But
it?
the point is this: people are being peaceful. They are using their private conveyance. They got in their car. They're using their private conveyance to travel from point A to point B. They have harmed no one. There is a sign that says 55, and their wheels are going 59. Now, really, it doesn't matter whether it's 55 or 75, but I'm just using this as an example. Do you believe that someone from the government should pull this person over and should issue them a citation or a ticket that costs them money when they have harmed no one?
Yeah, if they broke the law, yes.
What law? Is it God's law or is it some made up man's law?
It is God. It actually, you are following God's law because God tells us in Romans 13 to honor the authority that God has placed up over us. And if the elected
let's pretend
officials,
I'm a Nazi sympathizer in
Oh, that's so
1941,
bad.
and
That's
I'm
so
going to go out
bad.
and murder my Jewish neighbors because I'm following the authority in the country
That
that I'm
doctrine
born
is
into.
so bad.
oh no, hold on a second. No,
You said follow the authority. You said
does
follow
the
the
speed
authority.
limit, as long as it doesn't reject God's authority, does the speed limit reject a biblical principle or a godly authority?
So
Does it
first of
violate
this is
God's
the problem
authority?
Slow
everybody
down,
Because
you're
has
going
to
too
do.
fast on that
obviously
donkey.
what
This
Dietrich
is not a
Bonhoeffer,
theocracy, Micah. This is not a
what Dietrich
theocracy.
Bonhoeffer
This
did in
is not a
Germany was
theocracy.
absolutely
This is
100%
not a
okay, and it
theocracy.
followed
This is not a
God's authority.
theocracy.
So
This is
Dietrich
why people have a
Bonhoeffer,
problem with
this is
you because we are not a theocracy. You can't bring
nobody
in
said
God's
we're a
law to it.
theocracy.
Let's bring
No
in the
one,
Constitution.
I've
The
never
Constitution
advocated for
says
a theocracy.
liberty. You
Can I finish? Can I
you said
finish?
your standard was no, you can't. Your standard
Yeah.
was it in the
So
Bible? That was your
advocate.
standard in this situation. We were talking about civil
It
law.
doesn't violate a speed limit. Doesn't violate God's authority.
Yes, it does.
No, it
You know
doesn't.
God's authority with this. You don't
It doesn't.
understand. We're not in a theocracy.
So
We are
Lucy,
not in a theocracy. So don't bring
It
up God.
doesn't.
so Lucy,
Okay.
in
Let me say.
2019,
The
in
Let me say this.
2019,
governing
Carmel,
contract.
in
It doesn't
2019,
violate the laws of
in
nature. Nature's God.
2019, Carmel, 2%, 2.5% black. 2019, 33% of their citations went to black people.
Boom.
Were they justified? I don't
Yeah,
know.
because they were black.
Oh, you know this for sure. You know this for sure. So Carmel police. So Greg, Carmel police officers were targeting black people. That's what was happening in 2019. I don't know this to be true. I'm just asking a question.
I don't doubt
It's absolutely true.
It is. I would like to see statistics. I mean, have the proof. If it's happening, it needs to stop. But Lucy, let me go back to what Lucy said. Don't bring up God. Okay, fine. I'm going to bring up the laws of nature and nature's God, exactly what our founders said in the Declaration of Independence. Does a speed limit sign violate the laws of nature and nature's God? No, it doesn't. No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
My God.
Yes, it does.
How?
If I can run 20 miles, let's put it on my bicycle. If I can go 30 miles an hour on my bicycle and John can do 40 miles an hour on his bicycle, we are both following the laws of nature. We are both using the resources that we have. If John can afford a Rolls Royce and I've got a Nissan, he's going to go further and faster than me. As long as neither one of us hurt another person, as long as we do not cause a loss, it's called a tort. Remember what a tort is when you cause somebody else a loss. As long as there is no tort, there should be no interference into my life, period. Get the government away from me.
So
you're literally thinking. So Micah, how much is the revenue? You're really arguing out of a back door for the revenue that's produced by all of those tickets. And what if each person that got a $150 ticket or a $300 ticket were able to spend that on dance lessons for their kids?
Perfect.
Or more
I love
books,
it. That's great.
So
That's great.
Why not
So
stop the evil?
Lucy, you're advocating for anarchy is what you're doing.
No, I never said anarchy.
Yes, you are. I mean, you're saying laws aren't good because it violates
Anarchy
my
and without arc ruler. I deny that you have any moral authority over me as a person that is living inside the confines of the political state of Indiana. You do not have any authority over me. I don't care that you're lieutenant governor.
Okay.
I recognize that you have no moral authority over me. Now you've got institutions put in place. You are now the mouth of Sauron, which is so sad to see, Micah.
Oh my
Didn't you make an
God.
agreement with
Lucy,
the
Mother Sauron.
You're
Lucy,
advocating for the imprisonment and enslavement of human beings.
that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say, Lucy.
Oh no, I've
That
said
is
lots of shit. Come on,
Okay.
Oh my
I'm gonna-
God.
We're gonna shut it down. I'm gonna end this with a bad dad joke, and Micah, we're gonna let you go, and then we're gonna still talk about stuff, probably about you a little bit. But Micah, this is a joke for you. Do you remember what kind of transmission Jesus had in his car?
It was called horsepower, but it was a donkey.
No, it's Emmanuel.
Oh my God!
I like it. That's actually pretty good.
So Micah, say
good.
bye. Say bye before
Have a
Lucy's
great night,
head
Mike.
explodes.
We
So,
love you in
Hey,
spite of
I appreciate you staying
I
on.
love you
We'll welcome
guys. I love you guys. Great conversation. All right. Well, hey, we'll talk to you later.
All right. See you.
All right.
Have a good one, Micah.
All right. Let's get it rearranged here a little bit here.
I did not have yelling. I did not have yelling at the Lieutenant Governor of Indiana on my bingo card for tonight.
that was well, you know what, he could have left. I said, Micah, we'll put you on for 30, 40 minutes and you go, but hey, our viewership went up about 20 when all that went down. So people want to see the
my
fight.
thing is that, like, you guys were talking about two totally different things, and there is that subtle nuance of being Black and living in Hamilton County, and anecdotally you will hear it where people have talked about. I know a guy who's lived in Hamilton County for over 20 years, and he said he used to get pulled over every other day in Fishers.
I know.
And
I'm telling you, I
there's
know
just
it.
something about people who don't look like everybody else living certain places, and it is nuanced. It is very, very nuanced. It's gotten better, but it is nuanced. And so there is that racial profiling, being pulled over.
Yes.
I was pulled over in.
There is a white privilege too. Like
yes.
Yeah, I mean there are nuances
too, by the way.
being of to having different skin colors. 100%. I was pulled over in Greenwood. My tag was expired, and he pulled me over. And I was like, "This is how I feel." This was, I don't know, 2 years ago. I don't know, but this is my thing. If you're gonna pull me over, write me a ticket. Because I know that there are a lot of other people a lot of other brown people who don't get the courtesy of not getting a ticket. And I don't like it when laws are arbitrarily enforced. If you're going to pull me over because something's wrong, just go ahead and write me the ticket. I'm fine with that. I got pulled over one time. This was after the gentleman was shot up in Minnesota. He was reaching for his license, and he said, "I've got a gun in the car." And the guy shot him, and his girlfriend filmed it all on Facebook. And I got pulled over on 31, and I was speeding.
Orlando Castile.
Yes, Orlando Castile. And I got pulled over on 31, and the policeman told me, he said, "Hey, just slow down out there." And it touched my heart in a very different way, because every other time in my life, and I was probably 45 at that time, and I'd been driving for over, 25, almost 30 years. And he told me to just watch it out there, and he didn't write me a ticket. And that was the first time I'd ever been pulled over and I didn't get a ticket. And I cried. I wept because I was scared when I got pulled over. I didn't know what I was going to get. And this policeman showed me kindness and mercy and gave me grace. And I 100% was not expecting that. And I wept and I wept and I wept, because I know that not everybody has that kind of outcome and that kind of situation. They're not always extended grace and kindness during traffic stops. And as a culture, the brown culture, African Americans, brown Americans, whatever you want to call us, we sometimes do not get the same courtesies that other people get.
Yeah, I've been beat up. It's fine.
Yeah. So Janet talks about white privilege, not so much anymore. I talked about this with the skateboard journalist last night. He was actually doing TikTok live, and we had a great conversation that 3 people heard. But we've talked about, it's not really the white privilege, it's rich privilege. We've sort of shifted to that. If you have money, you think about it. Carmel's an affluent, area. And, my friend Ken Johnson, former chaplain of the Colts, talks about being out in LA. He was invited to go on Beverly Hills or whatever. He's driving down through there, and he's invited by this producer or somebody, and he gets pulled over, and they just cuff him. And I mean, it happens. But I think it becomes more of a rich privilege. It's like, okay. And
tell that to Robert Mathis.
Oh yeah, you tell him, he's way bigger than me. But yeah, exactly. That's part of the.
I feel like I've gotten out of tickets in situations relatively easy at some points when I hear stories where people are like with me and they're like freaking out, and I'm like, oh, we have totally different like thought processes on like our view of interacting with the police, number one. And
so that should give you some insight into how police feel about enforcing the law based on who the recipient is. So I mean, it is, it is what it is. But I will tell you,
interaction all around.
Brown people,
so you got a guy, Jerry Lopez, that said they locked up Jim Irsay.
Let me finish. Brown people in America, for the most part, should understand that we may not always get the same courtesies. So you have to be prepared. Their headlights need to work. Your tags, your paperwork, your license, at least go out there and make it so that you're not violating any laws. And if it does come to court, you're able to show that, hey, everything was in order. I don't know why I was pulled over. Sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah. Go ahead and hit that Jerry Lopez.
When they talked about Jerry Lopez talked about Jim Irsay being locked up. Here's the difference. You saw Jim Irsay remain in his clothing, not in an orange suit.
Yeah,
it was big news. You saw who was the guy who was the running back when the Colts won the Super Bowl? He went through the same thing. So
Edgerrin
you had
James?
Edgerrin James?
No, it wasn't Edgerrin. It was the other guy. Remember, Edgerrin didn't play the Super Bowl. Wasn't a guy, it was the other guy. But anyway,
I'm running out of names.
But you have these situations where even rich black athletes have had problems, and then let's keep it real. Me knowing guys who have been in this city who were athletes or even free agency who don't want to come into this city as rich black men because of the stigma behind how they're treated. So when we start listening to people as opposed to taking our own feelings into account, and hear when people say, listen, I get mistreated because of the color of my skin. Don't be like Jerry Lopez and okay. But if I mention anything about ICE, oh, heaven forbid I be wrong on saying, you know what, I don't back anything of Latin descent because of whatever. But it's amazing how people get on here and try to basically obliterate the black experience and act like we have a victim mentality when there's circumstantial and just clear evidence that black people have been mistreated forever. So, Jerry, virtual middle finger to you.
Here he got, yeah. So well, we get Jerry on here. Maybe
that's English, Jerry, right?
Yeah, Jerry Lopez, English man.
The Cuban guy, Greg. It's the Cuban guy, right?
He knows him.
You know who it is? Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
I don't even want to go there because there's so much I want to say that I can't.
I do openly accept my privilege. Like, I'm not gonna like what am I supposed to do in that situation? Like, I got let go from things that I feel like other people would have.
There's no doubt that happens, and I think with the way we can share social media, I think it's really being brought to the forefront on things. But I'm going to use a quote from Rodney King back in the '90s. Why can't we all get along? I mean, he went through all that stuff.
It's generational, John. Like it is.
But so is poverty. Poverty is that way too. So I'm going to go back to the
it's hard.
For the money thing. That's what it comes down to. I don't know. The privilege is more financial, I think, these days than it is skin color. And you could say,
but I think it's
I know you don't
levels too. It's not just one privilege over one. Like one race over one race or one gender over one gender. It can go in different levels, and there's just a lot of pissed off people because we let prejudice in general get in the way of
and I can't tell you how many times I've walked in somewhere that was restricted or not ever, and because I look like I look, I walk right in. and just act like I own the place and walk right in. I've done that so many times. And I know that other people maybe not be able to do that, aren't dressed this way or not look that way. Just look like you're in charge. Walk right in.
Yeah,
everybody, it makes like the media makes it seem like if I go outside, I'm going to get shot by a stranger. And so, oh, well, I better have a gun on me so I can stand my ground. So now you have a bunch of pissed off people ready to go to the draw. And it's based on what is the stand your ground law? Like, yeah, I felt threatened. Yeah, I mean, okay.
Well, stand your ground and permitless carry, all these things. But I live in the city,
and this isn't an anti-gun thing. Like this is like
I know, but I mean, it's still it is. So what happened with our murder rate here? What happened was before it was a retaliation. So somebody kills somebody, they have a retaliation, and Greg can speak to this too about the shooter. Legend shooters. They go to jail for 20, 30 years. They come out and they're looked up. They're like legends in the community. Oh, he's a shooter. He's this. And then we got to the point, like you just mentioned, well, I need a gun for self-defense. I need to defend myself against the other guy with the gun. And then it ends up being what it is. So this has not just happened overnight. This has taken several years and without a remedy. We don't have a remedy. And I know Greg is an outspoken person in the community about the culture. We need to quit doing this to ourselves. We need a fair shake. We need a fair opportunity. And that's what I like about Greg. He's not afraid to speak his mind. And when somebody comes at him like Jerry, he's not afraid to speak his mind. And
I disagree just a little bit.
Well, you can.
Sometimes I feel like sometimes you got to take the opportunity.
Oh.
Because for the most part, life's going to be what it is. And you got to take the opportunities. And I know that there's lots of other forces that are in play, but people have access to internet and teachers, guidance counselors, and you just they gotta want it too.
Well, I get that.
It's individual. It's like the drive to do whatever that is needs to be like. Yeah, no, I totally get that. It's individual.
Yeah.
So when you say it's individuals, and you say there's a reason that Black women are paid, 70 cents on the dollar, even though they're the highest educated people in the country. You say, as a Black man, personally, you look, and I have a bachelor's degree and I've worked in the industry for 20 years, and then I get stuck as an operations manager for 20 years, and somebody can be a COO with 5 years of experience, and I've always been in large corporations. No felony, no nothing. You realize that 7% of all management jobs or only 7% of all management jobs are filled by Black people. You've had the Fortune 500 forever, and you've had less than 1% of the CEOs have been Black. And you say it's about pulling yourself up. We're talking about highly educated, reputable Black people who are not receiving opportunities simply because they're Black.
So, Greg, there's two answers to that. Well, there's two questions. Number one is I was at Lilly almost 20 years, and I saw my Caucasian colleagues navigate the system very differently because they would go from company to company to company. And with each move, they would move up and they would move up and they would move up. I think one of the things that I thought as a brown person, and one of the things that we've been taught, was to be loyal to your employer, and that they would take care of you, and that they would promote you, and that opportunities would come. And when I say we have to take the opportunities, what I'm saying is you have to understand that you can't play checkers when other people are playing chess. And playing chess is, I've been at this job for 3 to 5 years. There's no upward mobility for me. I'm going to move to another company in the same industry. And that is how one grows their job and grows their career. So there's two answers to that. The answer is, if you expect your employer to take you from one stage to the top of the company, that's probably not going to happen. And the second part is, if you've got skills and talents and they're not promoting you, then you need to go someplace else. So there's opportunities, and there's opportunities. And when you're waiting on your lifelong employer to give you opportunities, they're going to give you what comes to you because you're not going anywhere. They don't value you.
So
But when they're like, oh my gosh, Greg's only going to be here 3 to 5 years, he's going to keep moving, people respect that. I mean,
so
it's sad that
so
Go
so I'm
ahead.
glad you said that because I've experienced it all my career. And the sad thing is this, is I just wrote this. I said, when Black people go in organizations and leave, it's called job hopping. When white people go into organizations, 9 times out of 10 in all my career, in all my 25 years of working, I've never sat across, in my level now, I never sit across from a Black person who can hire me. 9 times out of 10, I'm by myself. Every performance appraisal I've ever had, I sit in a room full of people who do not look like me, and they make that decision. So then here's what happens. I'm having that situation. I just had that situation, but I was bold enough to call the HR department. I said, it's interesting that you will look at my resume and say, why are you leaving? Or you haven't sat long enough where I know there's no mobility to move upward. But for me, it's me not being loyal. For someone else, it's them taking care of their family.
Yeah.
So even if we say what's in theory, what happens in reality is I am punished for not being loyal, as opposed to me taking my talent somewhere where I can be elevated. I have lived this career all my career. I've dealt with it all my career.
Greg, I'm with you 100%. I wasted some of my best years with a company, but I'm telling
Somebody tell Jerry Lopez the only way you can be racist is if you have power to make decisions that actually impact people. So Jerry, take that Cuban bullshit somewhere else.
You got to cash me outside. Hold on, I want to say something here real quick. Greg, there's an opening at Astronomer. As long as you can stay away from a Coldplay concert, you got it made. I'm just saying, you could go right to the top there. I know you seem like a pretty decent guy. I don't think you'd be caught on the kiss cam with anybody.
I met them. I won a radio contest a couple years ago when they were in Indy, and I got to meet them behind or like backstage before the show.
Coldplay or the people from Astronomer?
Yeah, Coldplay.
Oh, the people from the Astronomy. I'm a big fan of just
astronomy.
Yeah.
Oh,
come on, Brad.
I gotta laugh at Jerry. I'm just like racist.
What do you say?
Why are you so racist, Greg?
Well, Jerry's outspoken. You're outspoken. I can see where there's a little bit of sparks could get.
I can see it. I see it. I can see it.
It's like,
thanks, Jerry.
It's entertaining, that's for sure.
Let's meet over a cigar.
I want to do a show thing here. So if we go over an hour and 20, Brad has to go away because he's drinking the Bud Light, and then he's got to go pee. So he'll come back in a minute. I just want to tell everybody it's not an Irish goodbye that he's doing, but this is the kind of conversation that sometimes it's difficult. But we don't have it enough. I mean, we just sort of go to our daily thing. And I name this show's called The Grind. We're all trying to grind it out. We're trying to get ours, take care of our family. We're trying, our opinions seem to be just so elevated these days that it's tough for us to have a conversation. So I do appreciate the conversation. I know Lucy and Micah got into it. We got Greg and Lopez get into it. I just want to have somebody to fight with. Oh, I can fight with Rob Kendall. That's a good one. But he quit fighting. He gave up on me. He quit me like the Brokeback Mountain. Don't quit me, whatever. So anyway.
Won't quit you.
Yeah, that's good. But I don't know what the remedy is. I mean, I'm hearing this, but what do we do, Greg?
I think we continue. I think here's what we definitely need to do. Be open to other people's perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it's all said and done, it's like no one can speak on my experience. It's like, and when it's all said and done, it's like, but respect the fact that it's my experience. I think that we tend.
Greg, my question for you and your experience would be, if you met young Greg, like 20, if you could go back 20 years, knowing what you know now, would you say, don't worry about it, everything's going to work out the same way or work out okay? Or would you say, these are the key things that you need to do at these particular times?
I would leave Indiana as a whole.
Oh, Yeah, but that's where do we go? Where would you? I mean, 20 years ago, where would you go?
I would go somewhere where I can see people like me thriving.
I would say Atlanta, maybe.
Probably so. Yeah.
Yeah. That, I mean,
or
I got
DC. Yeah.
DC. DC's cool. I mean, and with your political background, I could see that very, very well.
Yeah. I would definitely.
To that point, I probably would have stayed in the military longer.
Yeah.
As much as people, have their feelings about the military, that's the only organization in the United States where at the end of the day, your promotion comes down to your packet, going to a board. It's colorless, it's sexless, and they are promoting you based on your actions and your track record of success. When I think about it, my dad graduated high school in 1959 and 31, 32 years later, retired from the United States Army, command sergeant major, done everything, every opportunity. And for a Black man graduating high school in 1959, he had a really good career, raised his family. My mother never worked a day in her life, and my dad did it. And it was a lot, 100% the Army, 100% the military, and the way that the military was forced to integrate and forced to just really have really great systems. And I'm not saying that it's a perfect system, but compared to everything else that was going on in the 60s, it was damn good.
Yeah, you talk about the 60s. We lived at, if you know the city, 38th and Drexel, and we were white flight. And we were slow to hear the news, and I had to leave my friends, that didn't look like me and all that. Hey, Brad, you're back. Did you refresh the Bud Light? Did you have to recycle it?
No. I had to take a bathroom break.
Yeah, I filled everybody in on that. I told them if we go an hour and 20, count on Brad having to take a break.
That prostate getting big, Brad.
Well, no. It was this is like a Fish concert. Like I thought the first set was fantastic with Micah, and I'm like, it can't be better than that in the second set. And holy shit, it was. That was fun. Yeah.
Well,
good time right now.
And while you were gone, I say, it's we have conversations like this.
Now we're back for the encore.
I would love to see get Greg and Jerry Lopez on here and have a free for all.
We should do an episode called Black Talk.
Black Talk, yeah.
Oh, no.
We have to all talk like that, or if
No, that would be the title of the show. And Brad, guess who would not be invited?
Why not? I'm Greek.
I think the title of it says it all.
Yeah, that's what Tiffany could be the host of that. I'm down for it. Y'all want to do it. I could get some people on here. I could get some people on here that would be chopping it up, as you say, chopping it up. So, but chopping it, yeah, keeping it live. All right, guys.
Jerry likes it. Are you not entertained?
Yeah, that's the gladiator comment. That is exactly that. Well,
Jerry, wow.
Look at the one above it. He says, "Add me. We'll promote it. Take the show to WIBC for a segment."
Yeah, wait. The WIBC doesn't deserve us. I'm sorry, but Jerry's doing pretty well on there. He gets his.
He needs to get.
John, that's just because you don't like Rob Kendall.
Oh, you know what? I like Rob Kendall. He's just fragile. I mean, he's just fragile. I can't help him on that. He'll toughen up someday. But I don't think he didn't see the softer side of Sears on me when I lit him up last week. I mean, I just got sick and tired of his hypocrisy. He said, "Oh, you get a picture with somebody, it shouldn't make any difference." Well, if I get a picture with somebody he doesn't like, then it makes a difference.
I think he's still just mad at Micah.
Yeah, I think
he thought the property tax thing was really going to work.
He got out of
it.
It's how it goes. So, we got anything else we want to talk about here since we're running so late? I mean,
no, I gotta go to bed, man. I'm old.
Yeah. Well, hey, I gave everybody a chance to shut the show down an hour. Y'all wanted to keep going. It was very entertaining. We had a lot of viewers tonight. Appreciate all the live chat. All of our people.
I love Lucy. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it. And honestly, y'all did good until Lucy and Micah got into it. I was so proud of them.
No, that was come on. That was like what that was the first.
Lucy is the real deal.
That was the real deal. But
man.
I do appreciate that we had 6 people on here and we didn't have the talking over. And it's hard when you're on like a Zoom call like this, because when you're in person, you can see the other talking or whatever. And then you want to get in. I just appreciate you guys' patience tonight, and you did a great job. So
we all respect each other.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know what?
Yeah,
we've been cultivating this kind of show and this kind of interaction for a long time. So it's good to see it starting to pay off a little bit. Greg, thanks a ton for coming on. We will get you back on here.
Absolutely. Man.
You and Jerry will get MMA match with you and Jerry. You will crush him. He's a little. You'll crush him, but you'll have to cut some weight probably, I guess, to get down to his weight
You're
level.
nuts. No, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
All right, everybody. Well, we will catch you all next week. I don't know who the guest is. I got a couple in line here, but we've had some quality people on here, so just stay tuned. And then catch Witty Reviews on before this. And I think that's it. Let me make sure I get the right ending here. There it is. Oh, no conspiracy tonight, Lucy. Sorry, we went long. Maybe next week. Everybody over.
It's a conspiracy that we're not having conspiracy theories.
Yeah, here's what I got to say about that. Yeah. What? Yeah.